real quick, recap in Illinois. Again, I think it's to our guys a little bit. We didn't make too big a deal, but I thought it was pretty cool. We did some things trying to honor the vets last week. I thought the one little thing we did with some former players that are serving our country was pretty cool. We showed it to the team. We talked a little bit about that, and even though we don't have, we put the little flag on our helmet and kind of did our stripe deal. But it was kind of nice to, because I Coach Deal's son-in-law's deployed right now, and some of our former players, some of you guys that coach, I think you saw that deal was a pretty cool deal. So it was kind of nice to have a good win and also kind of do so, kind of paying respect to those guys. So good to win at home and kind of good to have a good performance. And like Mr. Glass says all the time, we represent more than just ourselves and our team. So it's kind of good to have a good, strong showing for those guys, and proud of those guys. Offensive players of the game, Tevin Coleman and Cody Latimer both had really strong performances. Tevin was named Big Ten Player of the Week, which was a nice deal, and Cody had an awesome day, but a lot of other guys did on offense, but those two were very dynamic, and balls got their direction, and perimeter blocking. There's some clips, showing the guys, like when you look at Shane Wynn and Kofi tying guys up as the running backs going down the field on a long run, the perimeter, the backside blocking. You're talking to Ralston on one of the long runs that Stephen had a great backside block on a linebacker and getting a guy on the ground. So, some solid performances by a lot of guys, but those two were the two players of the game. Thought our quarterbacks played well. The one pick kind of hurts the one, but thought Nate came back great from that, and Trey made a couple huge plays. But just recognize Tevin and Cody as our players. Defensively, had a lot more activity, gave up some plays and some yardages. We got to keep working on bringing the numbers down, but I thought we got some strong play from John Lanham, who's was very good at the end when we got some pressure on the quarterbacks. Nick Mangieri as well, who's from Illinois. It was a big game for him. And then we recognized Clyde Newton first start, led our team in tackles, made a few busts, but as a freshman really played very, very well. Special team players of the game, Jake Stupanzik, 2 weeks in a row, had played, excuse me, I'm fighting a little cough here, had played in previous years, and early this year, some of the freshmen and other guys got going. He's got worked up the last 2 weeks and has had winning performances on 2 teams. At Mitch Ewald, who's been perfect for the year. His kicks were awesome. When we looked at our kicking, every time we punted or kicked, our opponent never started outside the 25. Matter of fact, the worst thing we did was when Mitch kicked it, it was a touchback. All the other kickoffs were inside the 2 inside the 10. The punt was on the 10. Kickoff and after penalty, 2 kickoffs returns were on the 10 and 7. A couple of them on the several on the 21. So I think we had 11 kicking opportunities, and all 11 times we were able to pin our opponent deep. 2 of our punts, Eric Toth only had 2 punts, but both into the win. One's down on the 10, one's a 36-yarder into a pretty good win. Gave them the ball in the 23. So I thought our kicking was a very, very, very big part of our game. Offensive scouts were Chase Alexander and LaRae Smith. Chase is from Avon. We didn't take an O-lineman last year. He's a 300-pound center, inside guy. You guys will see in years to come. We're happy him. LaRae was able to come back and have a solid week. Ben Polk, another freshman walk-on D-lineman, downstate from Evansville, that we're excited about, did well. And Larrell Williams, who's an in-town kid from Bloomington North, a quarterback that we're looking as a hybrid linebacker safety, and excited about all of those guys. Those guys, 3 of those guys are walk-ons, but they got really nice bodies, and they got some potential to really help us in the years to come. So those guys are doing well. Like to mention some guys, I saw you guys talking to Ralston, who stepped in and done well. David Kaminsky has stepped in. I don't like to talk a lot about injuries because it's kind of a negative, so I prefer not to talk about it, but we have, as all teams have, we've had some guys with some things, and we've been very, very fortunate as our strength program's taken off and our recruiting's gotten a little bit better and our walk-on program's gotten better. We've got more and more depth, and I think that's why we're able to weather the storm. And when we've had a little hiccup and a guy can't go, some guys we've lost for the year, and that's a part of our game. You don't like it. But that being said, too, some guys have stepped in. Jake Reed has stepped in. Jake Bailey, we talked about, and he played well. This game, Wes Rogers had to play. I think we'll see where we have Colin Rohrig. He has a slight back injury. I think he'll be going some this week. We'll see if it holds up. It's not near the extent of Peyton Ecker's injury with our right tackle that we lost, but we'll see where Colin is. But Wes did well. Jake Reed is in the mix to play as well there at center, so we'll be fine there. Clyde Newton came in. You guys saw that. Made some mistakes, but played well in his first start. Very excited about him. A running back in high school who's learning how to be a college linebacker as a freshman, but a very active, athletic young player. Ryan Thompson came in and had a great third down stop. Got the ball back for us when it's a close game. Really played well for Tim Bennett. I think Tim will be fine. He just took a head shot. And as the week goes, I think we'll get him back. We'll know as the week goes. Talked about Zapanzik on special teams and Brandon Gruby. Both those guys had to step in for Murphy. And matter of fact, we lost Dawson Fletcher. One of our safeties got rolled up and got an ankle injury. So we had Zapanzik and Gruby at safety. Also want to mention we didn't give them winning grades, but Darius Latham, very active. Great play on 3rd and 2 stop in 4-down territory in the second quarter after we fumbled, let alone the pressures and a couple sacks. He had Bobby Richardson, very active. And they had some MAs and busted assignments, and that's why they were not, quote, players of the game, but they were very, very active and stepped up. Zach Shaw, same deal, some pressure at the end. I thought both are tailbacks. You saw Tevins played, but again, we get quality play out of Steven. Wade D'Angelo's played in the quarterbacks. You know, Trey didn't play a lot, but that 4th down play he makes on his own. And we don't make that play, and we needed that play because things weren't going well. And we had came out and not, had went 3 and out, had thrown a pick, we had busted the coverage, they scored. We needed that next drive to get some momentum. I thought that was a huge, huge play. So again, we've got some depth, some guys stepping up, and kind of want to talk more about that. And yeah, we got a few guys hurt. Everybody does. When you have a good team, guys step up, and it's not as big a deal. When you're not a good team and you're not having success, we're not a good team yet, but we're building and we're moving that way. And I think a part of the sign is a little bit better recruiting, a lot better walk-on program in year 3 with the strength program and the maturity of some of our players. A couple things I want to point out in the game. I think the defensive stop on the first drive on 4th down, batted ball by Darius Rayner. They're in 4-down territory. Guys coming open on a route. You get in 1-possession games. Everybody wants to remember the last possession or the last busted coverage. Their plays early in the game that have impact in 1-possession games. Huge play by Darius, a 4th down stop in 4-down territory. I think the defensive stop after we had the fumble. We hadn't had a lot of fumble. In fact, it's the first fumble at tailback I think we've had this year, and something we worked real hard to eliminate, but unfortunately we had one, and our defense to get a 4-play stop. And it was really Darius Latham on 3rd and 2 and Clyde Newton on 4th and 3. And Clyde filled up the A gap on a backside power. The first time I've seen somebody do it right in 3 years, where he flew in there and stepped in there and made a play and looked like a decent football team right there from fitting it up the right way. So 2 good plays by 2 freshmen in critical times that you need. I think the fake punt stop. 2 weeks in a row we've gotten that. It was a nice play there for our guys to identify that. Got us the ball back. After that, in the 4th quarter, we had a 3rd and 10 and a 4th and 10 back-to-back plays in the fringe zone, where if they convert, they're getting points, and you're in a 1-possession game. And then at the end, the interception at the end of the game. I think offensively, we had a flurry there where we got them after Trey's run. We had a 50-yard pass to Cody Latimer. Came back with a 3-play scoring drive. Hit a play action pass to him. Backed it up with a 1-play big play by Tevin that was well blocked. Then a 2-play after their fake punt, a 2-play drive by Stephen Houston, popping 2 runs. Had great blocking there. We win the 4th quarter 17-7, which is huge. 4th down, we were 100% both ways. We stopped them every time, and we got every one. So I thought that was a big part of the deal. I mentioned earlier, I thought our coverage units and return units, I think our punt return started on the 20, the 23, the 43, and then after the fake, the plus 35. Their unit started on the minus 23 and minus 10. Our kickoff return unit had better returns, nothing great, but better than our kickoff coverage. When you're playing in the Big Ten and you're playing in November, kicking in field position, percentage of scoring from 90 yards, 80 yards, 70 yards, 60 yards, there's great increase with the percentage of when you score, when you make people go long fields. So kicking was awesome, and I think that shows, again, some of the strides that we're making as we keep moving forward. And then this week we're flipping up to Wisconsin, again, who's strong as always, and new coach with Coach Anderson, but since Coach Alvarez years ago has kind of got that thing stable. They recruit really solid, got a great style. They play great in all phases. Coach Bill McKelvey going in a strong way. I know Coach Anderson reasonably well competed against him when we were at Oklahoma. His team, I think it was a 34-27 game that they actually had a great chance, could and should have won. Actually got a poor call that actually helped us and hurt them in that game. So his teams are tough. He's a defensive-minded guy. Staff's been together a long time. We're excited to have 2 running backs 2 weeks in a row rush for 100 yards. They got 2 guys that average 100 yards. They do it every day, and they have for years. And their 3rd back and 4th back's good. They got great linemen, quality tight ends, fullback's a tremendous player, quarterback that can manage it. maybe the best football player in the league might be Chris Borland. There's a lot of great football players in this league, but number 44, their linebacker, is a special player. That's awesome. They're good up front. They're sound in coverage. It's just a really good football team, and as always, they're good in kicking game. I think they're first in kick return, so a great challenge. I think they're sitting at 7-2 and ranked. Will be a noon kick on ESPN2 at 11 o'clock their time. It's a great challenge, and looking forward to seeing if we can have a good week and continue to improve and build as we go forward here. Questions?
Defense played better down the stretch in the fourth quarter, especially after you guys got a little bit of a cushion. Do you think that the defense plays a little bit better when it doesn't have so much pressure on it to where it's a one-possession game and it can relax a little bit, knowing that the next play, if it gives it up, it isn't going to be tied?
A strong point, and of course at that time too, I think that the opponent gets a little more one-dimensional. But again, I do think those stops in the first half. You go back and you can look at last week or 2 weeks ago, our offense doesn't play well early, and I think our defense gives up a score, but goes, I think, 3 and out, 2-play turnover, 3 and out, 4 and out. Bowling Green, we start out not playing well offensively. We get down first and goal. The defense had a number of good stops. Penn State, same deal. It's 10-7, and Penn State's kicking a field goal. So I think, our defense has been a little on, a little off, and when it's on, it's been pretty good. And when it's off, it's not been very good at all. And a lot of it's youthfulness and getting them in position and coaching, and it's playing together. And when the offense plays well, we get going. But same deal when the defense plays well. When the defense plays well, feeds the offense. And those are some things we've tried to show. Hey, Ryan Thompson, you make this third down stop. We get the ball. Here's the touchdown 3 plays later. Hey, we get this fourth down fake. Here's the touchdown a few plays later. So we're trying to show our team how we feed off each other. But defense still has a lot of work to do, and we're going to work real hard, again, short term with 3 weeks to go. What can we continue to do? Fundamentals, alignment, structure, discipline, communication to keep playing better, because we got to keep playing better, and the offense does too, but we got to keep coming defensively. So they do play better, Kim, when we do have a lead at the end of the game and the team gets one-dimensional. But there are some times where our defense, I think our numbers get skewed because we've given up some big plays. And we've gotten work, and we've given up some third downs. But when there's some spurts where our defense has played solid ball, we just got to get it more. Thought in Minnesota we had a consistent part both sides. In this game, there was more consistency throughout the game, and that's what we talked about. When we play together, we're really a decent team. Sometimes we flash. The offense goes away. The defense goes away. When we can put it together and kick it well, we're pretty good. It's just, having the discipline, the play calling, the execution, and the focus to do it over longer stretches. If we do, we can have some success in these weeks to come.
To get this out of the way, how's Tevin's ankle? What's his situation?
He's got a good ankle sprain, and it'll be, to sit here and say it's probable, all likely he's probably out this one. And we'll see, some guys will come back faster than others. Again, we are fortunate, Stephen's a 2-year starter and has played pretty good, and we got some depth at D'Angelo, and whether we go as a third guy, LeRae, or again, we've got, Anthony Davis and Andrew Wilson, we kind of like his third guys if he gets to that point. But it's nothing major, it's not a break, but it's major enough that with an ankle deal in a skill position, a fast guy, he's going to be very, very limited, and in all likelihood, we can say end of the week, we'll see how it goes. But fortunately, we got some depth there, and we'll need some guys to step up if we need it. I expect that's probably going to have to happen.
Any chance LeRae Smith gets into that mix with the running back depth? He hasn't played, I don't think.
Yeah, I think where we are, and he's got some speed. I think he's doing a little bit, although he's been injured enough. He had this little back issue that kind of got him out. That there's a chance. I don't think he's played enough. We might could get a red shirt year out of that. And how much would he play as a third guy versus that time? Because again, I do think you've seen from that first game that Wilson's a decent player, and Davis. If you get to the third guy, quote how good, which is technically a fourth guy, then how good is that anyway? So not down on LeRae and Miles are freshmen. I think they're kind of maybe a little bit on the shelf, and we'll go with those other guys right now.
Yeah, I don't know if he's eligible for a red shirt.
He's got a chance to be. It's just a process we got to go through because he missed about 6 weeks with an injury. It kind of took the bulk out. We got him going here last week and a half pretty good. So we'll see how it goes.
Was that the same injury from the beginning? That was like a hip thing or whatever?
Back,
Did it kind of?
yeah. Okay. And then he got his shoulder knocked down on one of the plays he played in that first game.
What just so we're on injuries, Flo Harden, we talked about on Saturday.
Got a chest bruise, and You know, Wally Pipp, though, that guy came in and led the team in tackles, so, you know, get your bruise well.
Would
Mike Thompson got in the corner for a lot more this set past Saturday. How did you evaluate it?
You know, we gave him a winning performance. Didn't give it like player of the game because it was only the second half. But a couple stops, right place, right time, a couple busts and things to clean up. I actually thought coming in the preseason he'd be in the mix to compete and play. Got an ankle sprain, missed a couple weeks. I don't know if maybe personally he handled that as mature and as strong as he needed to. I think he got a little down on himself and a little funky and didn't practice well for a few weeks. And but came in a couple weeks ago on special teams and really responded well. We recognize that. Now the door's kind of opening up. The ball's getting back in his court. And for 2 weeks he showed up in a good way. So I think Timmy's going to be fine. But I really thought we could maybe get a little bit more Ryan than we got this year. So it's kind of nice he's there and nice he stepped up these last couple of weeks.
How important is mindset this week, especially against a Wisconsin team that has been pretty successful and against it in the last couple of years? How important is just mindset for guys to go up there confident that they could win?
Well, again, my comment to him, I think we're making strides, and there's a point in time where I think we're going to have some success against top teams. We've kind of been close, and you want it to be this week, you want it to be next week, you want it to be next year. You know, it's coming. So the best way to come is to have a great week of practice. The best way to come is to play together as a team. The best way to make it happen is to be as aggressive and decisive as you can. You know, you're not going to go up there and play Wisconsin on your heels. You're not going to go up there hoping they have a bad game, hoping to get a call, hoping they have a turnover. You know, it's a little bit, I always tell the guys like the Tiger Woods mentality. He's going to make his putts, I'm going to make mine. So we got to go play well. So I think we're making strides. We're getting close to being a team that's competitive. And if you want to compete at the high level, that's why you come in the Big Ten. This game's going to be on ESPN2. We've been in some of those games. We hadn't maybe had our best performances. So can we learn from that? We don't go back and talk about it. I don't think our team is like we've lost games because we've been choking, but we hadn't played well and executed well. And we got a great opportunity against a good team, very good team. And you got to play well in all phases. You can't go up there. You're not going to go up and down the field on this team's defense. They've played against some very, very good offenses, and they shove them in a box. And so you're not going to go up there and matching scores. You got to get some defensive stops. And this is a team that has an overwhelming running game, and they can throw it to a receiver that can get open as good as anyone with the play action pass, with the tight end fullback game, etc. So to me, our mindset is we're making strides, and this is an opportunity to show you're ready to make the next stride. You want to do it this week? Let's go up and fight and have a great week, have a great plan, put it together, go attack, go fight, and see what it is. Let's go up there hoping and wishing it can happen. Well, you know, might as well not get on the plane and take the bus trip up to the airport. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where our team is. Looking forward to having a good week.
what's been,
I was gonna say, what,
With the new staff up there, are they changed much? Are they still doing pretty much what they did past several years?
I think there's a lot of similarities. There's minor changes, maybe like in defensive alignment subtly, but it's just in the way they kick their front and their three-man front, but still gets them into their base quarters look and where their run fits are and their blitz packages. So slightly different enough to be different, but they still use the same players at a lot of the same spaces. Running game, same deal. You know, using big guy personnel with 2 and 3 tight ends and fullbacks that move around. Number 48. A lot of the guys, on their offense are same guys that were there last year. Have been there for a couple of years. I mean, except for the one running backs left, but the next couple, 3, they've been putting running backs after running backs after running backs for 15, 20 years. And so, nothing's falling off. So maybe a little difference in the call the guy wants to make, but a lot of carryover. And, I mean, it looks like a Wisconsin football team. And again, Coach Anderson, I think, like all coaches, I mean, he's got things he likes and things he believes in, but I think, he's playing to the strength of their football team. They've always had big linemen, great running game. You complement that with play action pass. Tight end fullback guys are outstanding players. Defensively, they've evolved to a 3-man front, but the way the structure of their coverage and the soundness, I don't think it was a very radical change for the players, and I think that's why they've had really good success and why they're sitting at 7-2.
what's been so much better the last 2 weeks about the offensive line? What have you seen those guys just do better, I guess, in opening up the holes that they have?
I mean, we still miss some stuff now. So, again, we got a couple of guys out, but it's year 3. And, they're hearing the language over and over, and the concepts, and they're having some success. And I think there's enough complementary parts So we're not running into loaded decks. I mean, there's a passing game that helps the running game. And, we just showed our team, hey, here's Ryan Thompson making a third down stop. And now here's Tevin Coleman almost popping a run in front of our sideline with great blocking from Bolser and Jake Bailey backside on a cut block and Cody Latimer. And then the next play, here's Cody on the touchdown pass. And everybody says, look at this great play by Cody. Well, it was set up by third down stop by Ryan. And then some really good running and perimeter blocking. So it's kind of how it all fits together. So I think the line is really doing okay because the quarterbacks are decent and the receivers are decent. There's enough parts that we can, if we execute, we make you play space and play the field. And when the space gets spread out, then there's some running lanes. So it's like our passing out, and our receivers have bought into blocking. That's why I think Tevin's got 8 touchdowns over 40 yards, which is first in the country, I think, and it's not because he's just a good running back, and it's not just because of the line. I mean, Bolzer's blocking the best he's ever blocked. And you're getting great effort from Latimer and Hughes, and they score touchdowns, but they're blocking out there, and that's why that's why those are 40-yard plays and 50-yard plays instead of 10-yard plays. Because there's the threat of the pass, they space out, and then our perimeter players aren't mad because it's not a pass play. I think everybody knows we can get the ball. We honored Kofi Hughes as one of our players of the game. A couple times I thought he got held up pretty good. Like I didn't understand why he wasn't allowed to run a route because of what the defender was doing. But the ball, ball's coming his way, and he couldn't get off of coverage. We missed him on a fade route, but he's out there playing his tail off. On one of the plays where Stephen Houston goes 40 yards on the left, he's on the right blocking his guy almost out of bounds on a bubble pass, playing his tail off. And quote had no catch. But here's the senior playing as hard as he can play, and that's what you want. And we'll look at play calls and try to get some things to him, but sometimes it's mirrored routes and coverage goes this way, I'm going this way. It's like we were just trying to get the ball to Cody last game. But so again, the line is doing good because those skilled players make them look good. It's a little bit of everything. Anything else?
When you look at, I guess, how concerned are you about Wisconsin's play action pass? Obviously, their running game is very potent, but the play action pass.
And we got work like that with Michigan very, very well. So again, if you sit there and play base and just kind of line up, you got big guys and good tight ends and backs that are really patient and fast and are very experienced and well coached, and they work you and stay on schedule. And then of course, if you get aggressive and start loading the box, you get guys one-on-one. And Abadaris is about as good as anybody getting open, and he's worked some of the best players in this conference and in the league, one-on-one. And I think he's been a little banged up, but I know he'll be flying around against us. So that's why they're a good offense. I think we're talking about I think because their line is so good and their running game so good, then that helps him and makes him so good because he gets out there one-on-one, and Joel can make some shots and get it to him in the pass game. So that's why they're scoring 40 points a game too.
You talked at the beginning about kickoff coverage and just special teams in general. What's worked so well, basically? You guys are, I think, leading the conference in it in kickoff coverage. Just obviously, it starts with Mitch, but
Good kicker,
Yeah.
But we got some good guys out there. I mean, you got Bolzer and Latimer covering those kicks. And, a couple guys, we got some of our players, and then guys like Zupanzik and Ryan Thompson and some competent guys step in. Jakari's been good. I mean, to me, I think it's a sign of our team growing. Like, when you're growing as a team, you got more confidence, you got better athletes, you got a little bit more swagger, and those guys are attacking, and that's what the offense has gotten there. And our defense flashes and goes away. We just got to keep building our defense in an attacking mode, and I think our punt team's gotten that way. 2 weeks ago is the first time our kickoff return team has showed an attacking mode, and I just think that team's been very, very aggressive. And as we build, sometimes it's when our offense is out of whack, we're not as aggressive as we need to be. But the kickoff cover's been a good unit. Mitch is a good part, but the coverage has been awesome. One of the best things he does is when he kicks it out and he catches it on the 2. That's better than when he kicks it out of bounds. So, but this team who we're playing is, I think, first or second in the league in kickoff return. They got a great return unit. So, but it would be nice to use that team because that means we're scoring, and people don't score a lot on Wisconsin. I mean, they've given up 3 touchdowns at home this year, and they play pretty good defense.
Coach, will David Cannon be available for the whole game this week?
Right now, it's a half deal, and it's kind of an unfortunate deal because we've talked with our people and got them looking into it. The call was made as a high hit, targeting hit, and the targeting rule is talking about hitting with your crown or going high to the head or launching up at a guy. And he comes at the quarterback and he actually comes down, he comes with his arms and he hits the guy late. and probably it should be a roughing the passer call. But because it was called targeting, and then it was review don't want to change it, then it's stuck, and it's unfortunate, because again, we got to protect our players, and I think as coaches, we're all about that. But I've heard a couple coaches, I mean, this guy, first game he's played a whole lot, I think he's played in 4 games, very active. And we got to protect their game, and I do think the penalty matches targeting what it ought to be, because it's the best way to get guys. You know, your helmet comes off, you come out of the game, all of a sudden the helmet started staying on. The high flagrant kill shots have really gotten out, which is the best for the game. But it's unfortunate. I mean, to me, the comment I was made, I go, they can go back on video, and if they see a high hit, they can sit a guy down. They can come back and say, hey, we missed him. This is a flagrant hit. He is not playing this week. But if they look at video and say, you know, because even though you got video, it's one guy's opinion of the video. It's still a human element. They look at video and say, maybe not. They can't change and give the kid a chance to come back and play. And that's why I think the penalty fits when it's flagrant. But I think we got to look at our rules, because this kid's missing a half for an aggressive play that wasn't a target play. And it just got called that way. And it wasn't a bad call. It's human element. I mean, that happens, you know, and our referees, I think our referees do a good job. I mean, they do well. I think as fans, because we're on the short end, we always remember calls that don't happen. We get calls, you know, and you don't remember those. And you know, and we don't get calls, just those guys are humans. We make bad play calls. Our players make mistakes. They're supposed to be in certain places, they're not. Those guys are humans. It's a part of the sport. It's one of the great part of the sport is the human element of the sport. And football is a bunch of flying parts. You know, you got 22 players and 29 guys flying around, let alone guys signaling, calling plays. There's a lot of flying parts, and you're getting guys trying to function together or what. So, you know, I just asked really hard for it to be looked at. I've been told because it was reviewed that way, there's nothing to do. And then my comment was, as I've heard some other coaches, I think we need to look, because when you can come back and say, hey, in fairness, that's really a roughing rule. Let's give this kid a half of his football back. And how much does he play? I don't think it is impacting the game. I just think in fairness, these kids, you guys talk about the fans, you're a kid getting up at 6 a.m., running year-round, lifting. You're making a huge commitment of your life, and you're taking away a few minutes I get to play. I mean, those kids get about 6 minutes. If you play a whole game, you're getting about 6 minutes of play. About 6 seconds times 50, 60, 70 plays. That's what you really play in a football game. That's how many minutes and seconds of a football career you have. And so I think moving forward, I'm sure as coaches love the rule, love the direction it's going. I just think we got to look at it way when it's a little bit off, that a kid doesn't get, the penalty doesn't match the crime. You know what I mean? It's like we need to come back and maybe have a way. So he'll miss the first half. And again, I don't think it was a bad call, but this is what it was. What else? I'm not allowed to discuss referees either. I think
What's
our guys
that?
I can't discuss referees, and I actually think our crews are good. So you guys don't like them, I like them. I mean, I just, you know what I mean? So I'm, you know.
I was just looking for, I mean, you think he should have been called for roughing but not targeting? Like based on the rule,
I think
based
if you
on what
look
he
at it,
did?
because the targeting is called hitting with the crown, going head to head, or launching. He didn't do those
You didn't
three.
think he did that? Okay. All right.
But it got called that way. And then when it got reviewed, the reviewed overturned, because he hits in the chest and gets up into his face mask. Well, is the face mask helmet the helmet? It got into his face mask. It's part of the helmet. So then the guy, and I always say here too, the bigger the games, the more TV cameras you got, the better angles you get for review. We don't have enough good games on TV yet. We don't get enough camera angles. You're playing a game in Horseshoe, there's about 50 of them from, you got swinging all over the place. There's cameras. There's spy cams. They're all over the place. And I mean, it's a part of, you know, I mean, so that's one of the reasons why everybody says, should you appeal? Like, I don't know if there's enough video evidence to overturn, because that's what you got to have. And they're, unfortunately, the way that was called, and it wasn't a bad call, because they're going to protect players. And I think that's awesome. I think they should. I just think in time it comes back, okay, maybe we missed or we penalized this kid, when more common minds look and say, you know, that wasn't a target play. That wasn't an intent play. That was a physical, aggressive play, and that was probably a late hit. Let's give this guy a chance. And because again, it's going to happen to more and more players down the road. But the direction of what we're doing is best for the game. And we got to keep that up, because there's no doubt it's best for the game. So, what else? That's good?
Real quick, you mentioned Wisconsin defenses. What do they do so well structurally, basically? Is there anything that they've done?
Again, they know where they are gap sound, multiple in their looks. Their eyes are where they're supposed to be. So if I got one in the flat or two going vertical or whatever, if I'm a B gap player, C gap player, edge gap player. So again, there's a lot of carryover to what they did. They tweaked it, fitting some of their scheme in their language, I'm sure, but the structure, different, but very comparable to Michigan State. They don't give up plays. You earn everything, and every play is a competitive play. Competitive at the line of scrimmage, competitive in the perimeter. It's a very, very good defensive football team and a great running team with great play action. You guys good?